Okay, as far as our springs go, we have this rubber piece that goes on the very bottom. There's a locating plastic rubber pin on here, assuming it hasn't disintegrated. So it'll line up. You'll see where that goes in a minute. It'll go on the bottom. Then we have our helper spring. And if you have a used set like mine, you can see where the worn groove is in there, where the last coil sat. Then we have this spacer or joiner to join the main spring on top, which will sit on that. That purple piece will lock those guys in place so they won't come apart. And then on the very top we have our adjustable piece. Also I just made sure that this was the same distance from the top adjusted as the one on the other side I did, so they should match. That sits right in there. This piece will go in the top where we removed the Dinan threaded one. And there's our stack. It's all the way down right now. So we'll make sure you clean out this thing. A little dirt out. You should probably take a wire brush, get that nice and clean. And somewhere you will see, let's see, let me turn the light on. Okay, as you can see here, we have a raised section here and then a drop off on the bottom of our rubber piece. You can see that this edge is going to fit right into here. You can rotate it until you feel it lock into place there. So that's going to sit here. Our helper spring will sit on top of this, and then the rest of our stack. Like so. And this big guy. Snap into there. The top. Come all the way up on our hole. You can see it will fit that hole there. From this angle. From this angle, you can see that will come all the way up there and fit into the hole at the top. We'll lock it in there, and we'll push it back up to where our bolts will go in here, and our shock will fall into place here. We'll have to move that to adjust it to line up our holes for our bolts down here. Okay, once you're able to get this one lined up, just hand thread it in there a little bit to lock that in place. And then you can come here and get your suspension lined up. And remember on mine, the bolt came through. So starting over here on this side. So you need to use two hands and push the shock around until you can get the hole to line up. Press up. Do this back and forth. This is one of the tricky parts. Aha! Damn. Got it. Put our nut over here. Got an 18mm tools out here. Make sure we're going tighten. Switch out to our 21mm You can see our bolt is still sticking away out here. And I'll push him in until I can feel it on the other side. Push him in until we can feel it on the other side. Alright, that's coming through. So now we can take our nut. A little further. A little more. Thread the nut on and hold it in place with our wrench. Okay, now I'm also going to go ahead and get the breaker bar, tighten it more. The 17mm side. Push. There we go. That is on tight. And then we can't forget our little wire here. So on the new shock right here, where my finger is pointing, is a little bracket like we had before on our OEM. We snap this into. And I remember on the other side I found it was easier to take the box into the wrench, push it on, because these things are stubborn. Stupid cables are the hardest part. Okay, this does not move. Hey, success. Whew, okay. Now, this end. Now you can see this little guy has 3 pins, and there are 3 pins in there. So if you look in there and see which way they're oriented, it will help you. Okay, for my passenger side of the car that I'm working on now, the single pin is to the inside of the car. So I'll have to rotate this thing around this way, plug it in once we get it lined up. Push it in. Alright, it's in there now, can't pull it out. And of course, when doing the other side, remember to reattach that part right there. And you're done. You just changed the rear suspension. And oh, by the way, from our parts list at the beginning, the 10mm socket was for that guy right there. Okay, after I put the wheels back on and lowered it, I could barely get my finger through here where the tire hit it. So I took it back off to raise the height some, and I discovered that this tool is pretty much freaking useless on this setup because this thing's in the way over here and you don't have enough room on the other side. So I had to remove the back bolt and this bolt again with the shock absorber to lower the whole control arm, take the spring out, and then by hand adjust that piece there and put it all back together. So it's not as easily adjustable as it claims.